everybody, it's Edie, and I am here to attempt to finally finish my card for National Card Making Day. You may or may not know, but I was a guest host on the Odd Show's National Card Making Day Marathon, and I tried to do a live stream on their show, and Google Plus was not working for me, and I got kicked off, and so then I tried to do my show at 7:30 p.m. and it was even worse. So I decided to make a video and show the finishing process of my card and then turning your card into a painting. So I want to catch you up on what I've already done on two, not one, but two Google Plus failure shows. So I took a piece of 8.5 by 11 cream colored cardstock and I folded it in half. And then I took this scrapbook paper and I cut a section out. You can see where I cut it right here. And I used, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. I used antique linen distress ink and a makeup sponge. And I pat my sponge into my distress ink and then blotted it onto my scrapbook paper. And I adhered it to the front of my card. Ta-da! I also had made a creative paper clay pumpkin, and all I did was flatten out some paper clay, and then I used a needle tool and I drew in the little grooves of my pumpkin here and let it dry, and then I painted it with Liquitex Basics Unbleached Titanium. I used Aleene's Clear Tacky Glue and I kind of drew some little swirly bits here and then poured on some antique copper micro beads, and that's what gave me the vine. So this is just glue and micro beads. And then for the lace, this was a piece of regular white lace and I used homemade alcohol ink. It was slate colored Adirondack ink and 90% rubbing alcohol in a mini mister, and then I sprayed this a couple of times to get the nice black color on the lace. So that's where I'm at so far. Also, I made some chipboard pieces. You can see it says Cheerios, or it did say Cheerios. I cut out some pieces of chipboard. This is cereal box, and I painted these as well with the same Liquitex Unbleached Titanium. I painted them, and then I used a calligraphy marker to write my text on here, and I wrote All Hallows Night with a calligraphy pen on my chipboard. And I also, this has taken 2 shows. Did I mention that? 2 shows. And then I took some spiders. These, you know, you can get these from the dollar store. You get like 50 or 100 of these little spider rings. They look like this when you get them. These little spider rings. You get them at the dollar store at Halloween time. I took a few of those and I painted them. Well, first of all, I cut the little rings off. There we go. I cut the rings off of my spiders. I painted them with gel medium, and then I sprinkled on some black extra fine glitter. So now I have glittery spiders, because these are really super expensive at the stores. They're like $6 for $2 or $3 for these glitter spiders. Or you could just make them yourself. You can make 50 of them for $1. So that's what I've done. That's where I'm at so far. So the card itself is almost done. And then I want to turn this into a painting. So I'm going to finish making my card. I want to glue on my words here, and I'm just going to use Aleene's Clear Tacky Glue. And I'm going to glue on my words, my text. Oops. I'm going to try and get this done in one take so that I don't have to edit anything. I can just get my video done and send it to Leslie Ray, because she's going to put this with all of the Odd Show's playbacks from their National Card Making Day. Because all of the shows from National Card Making Day were recorded. So you can go watch them. I don't have the link on hand, but I will make sure to put the link down in the YouTube comments so that you can go watch all of the playbacks from all of the shows. They had a marathon. It started at 10 a.m. and it went until 7:30 p.m. They had a marathon of shows all day long. So I'll be sure to put that link in the comments section under my YouTube video. Okay, so I have my text glued down here now. Make sure that's even. Okay. And I want to attach one of my spiders here to my card. So I'm just going to use more of this clear tacky glue, and I'm putting a pretty big glob on there because I really want this spider to stick, and he's not flat. Even though I cut the ring off of the bottom, he's still not flat. So there we go. Here we go. And that is my finished card. Now I want to take my card and turn it into a painting, because when you spend a lot of time on a card, it does become a work of art. And when you give it to someone, they may want to turn it into a painting, or they may say, wow, this is a beautiful piece of art. I wish I could hang it up, or I wish there was some way to display it. And so you can really turn it into a painting with just 2 or 3 quick, simple little steps. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take my finished card and turn it into a painting in about 3 steps. So I'm going to move my card off to the side and let it dry for a little bit. And now I want to paint my canvas. And what I did was I found a canvas that was a good size for my card so that I still had a border around my card. And I'm just going to use some black acrylic craft paint. And I'm not going to worry about painting the middle, but I do need to get far enough in that the edges of the card won't show. I mean that the edges of the paint won't show, that it's underneath the card. So I'm just going to paint this on here. I may need to give it a second coat because I did not gesso. But it might be alright. We'll see. Make sure you get the sides of your canvas. Don't leave the sides white. You want to make sure you paint those as well. The edges. And if you like my Halloween work and you want to see more of it and want to spookify your own house for Halloween, I have a paintbrush, a hair from my paintbrush in my painting. If you would like to spookify your own house for Halloween, I have a Frightfully Fun Upcycled Halloween class that is available. And I will be sure to put the link for that in the comments as well. And that's at craftylink.com. The course is called Frightfully Fun Upcycled Halloween. And I show you how to make 4 really cool projects. And you'll upcycle cereal boxes and light bulbs and turn them into Halloween decorations. But there are also things that can be used all throughout the year with a little bit of tweaking. You can make it Christmas projects or Easter projects or whatever. And I also teach you basic skills, like there's sculpting skills and mixed media techniques all mixed in with this class. It's under the guise of a Halloween class, but it's so much more than that. So you can visit craftylink.com and sign up for my Frightfully Fun Upcycled Halloween class. And I'm available if you have questions or if you have anything to come up. It's a self-study course, but I'm still available to help you out if you need it. So I just have this one side left. just going to finish using up this last little bit of paint here. And now I'm going to hit this with the heat gun. Alright, that's dry. I want to go on to the next step. I'm going to take the same color that I've been using, the unbleached titanium Liquitex Basics, and I'm going to put a little bit of it on my palette. And then I'm going to use a paintbrush and lightly brush over the top of a rubber stamp that has text on it. You want to make sure that you're using a very light hand here. You don't want to get all down into your stamp. You just want to brush the tops, whatever the raised bits of your stamp are. And if some of it's more heavily coated than other spots, that's okay. And you want to go against the direction of the image. So my lines are going this way, so I'm running my paintbrush this way. And now I'm just going to place my stamp on my canvas in a couple of different directions and brush on some more paint. I'm going to do the whole canvas this way. And I love this look of a dark background with a light colored text over the top. There's just something about that that I just love. And you can get quite a few stamps with this paint. When you paint it on there on your stamp like that, you can get quite a few stamps before you have to re-ink it or repaint it. Need a little bit more paint. And remember, use a very light hand when you're applying your paint. And what I do is I'll dip into my paint. Let's see if I can get it on camera. I'll dip into my paint and then kind of tap off to the side. So I'm dipping into the paint and then tapping it and spreading it so that there's not so much paint on my paintbrush when I go to add it to my stamp. I'm going in different directions, so I'm never laying the stamp down in the same direction twice. And it's important that you wash your stamp immediately when you use acrylic paint on it like this, because you do not want that paint to dry on your stamp. So once you finish stamping, you need to go wash your stamp right away. And I'll actually, because I'm filming, what I'll probably do is just brush some water. If you're in a position where you can't walk away right then and go wash your stamp, what you can do is run some water over your stamp. I'll show you, because that's what I'm actually going to have to do. I don't want to get up from my filming, and sometimes you can't get away immediately. You know, you have to keep your hands on your painting or hold something in place, or there's always one reason or another that you just can't get up and walk away. I'm also going to stamp the edges here and kind of roll it. Ooh, it's smudged. Stamp and roll it over the edge so that my edges are finished, my sides are finished. Oops. I'm going to do that to all 4 sides. I just want to make sure that it has a finished look. Make sure you kind of roll it up onto the front of your painting. And again, make sure that you're going in different directions so that it just gives it a more random look, and it's not quite so perfect looking. So you might have just heard my door slam. The wind is starting to pick up and my screen door just flew open. So you may have heard a bang. You may hear it again. It's just the wind picking up and my screen door is blowing in the wind. Okay, so I think I have this pretty well stamped up. Now what I was telling you about brushing water over. I'm just going to take a big, really wet paintbrush and brush it everywhere that there is paint on my stamp to keep it wet, and that will buy me some time. And if it puddles in there, even better. That'll buy me some time until I can actually get up and go wash my stamp, because I don't want this acrylic paint to dry on my stamp. I'm going to move that out of the way. There we go. So step 1, paint it black. Step 2, stamp on your text. Step 3, okay, 4 steps. Step 3, cut your card in half. So I'm going to take my card and open it up and cut it right here on the fold. Now I would normally dry this text with a heat gun, but it's very thin paint and I'm not really worried about it, so I'm going to go ahead and just stick my stamp down. Stick my card down. Actually, I'm going to use some Aleene's Clear Tacky Glue. I'm going to move my canvas over here. I'm going to use some Aleene's Clear Tacky Glue to apply my card to my canvas. Still got black paint all over me. There's still some wet spots on my canvas. Okay, there's that. Need to make sure my hands don't have wet paint on them for touching the front of my card, because I'm getting ready to glue it down. Okay. Now I want to make sure this is centered. And I just want to press it down. And I'm using a napkin because I still have wet paint and stuff on my hands, and I don't want to get that on my card. Be careful if your spider is still wet, which mine is. These micro beads, you need to be careful because they will come off and they go everywhere. Trust me when I say everywhere. Now what I'll do, after the center of this is really dry, I'll go back and lift up the corners and add just a tiny bit more of this clear tacky glue right to each corner and press that down. Actually, I'll go ahead and do that now. And it's just a little daub and smear. And if it lifts up again, that's okay. Just press it back down. And if you have any spots on the edges that are doing that, you can just run your glue right up underneath there, or run a paintbrush with some glue on it up underneath the edge. So there's step 3, gluing your card on. I'm going to hold these down for, oops, I moved my spider. I'm going to hold these down for just a second until that glue starts to adhere a little bit. There There we go. Now, step 4, attaching more spiders to incorporate the card with the background. So I'm going to bring my other spiders over here. Give them a good dollop of the clear tacky glue and stick them on. If you want your spiders hanging more off the edge, then just bring them. I cannot speak tonight. Just bring them closer to the edge. I can't speak. You may hear noise in the background. Christopher has a friend spending the night. Okay. Last one. And it's really easy to turn a card into a piece of art. Find a few colors that either complement or correlate with the card that you were given or that you've made, and make a nice simple background so that the card is still the main focus, but just so that your canvas isn't just a white background blaring at you. Holding my corners down here for just another minute. And my pumpkin is a little bit too white. I'm not really happy with that. So I want to age my pumpkin a bit. And I think I want to use some tea dye, Distress ink. And I have a little tiny paintbrush in here that doesn't really have any bristles left on it. I've used this paintbrush until there are no bristles left. This is my favorite paintbrush. And so what I'm going to do is take and kind of rub on my ink pad and then rub down into the grooves. They're really, like, the bristles don't even move on this paintbrush anymore. They're just a nub. It's not quite the right color, so I'm going to stop right there. And Distress ink is water reactive, so I should be able to rinse all of that right back off with a damp paintbrush, just like that. Blot it nice and dry, and try again with a different color. I want to clean my paintbrush, and I'm going to use the Antique Linen Distress ink. Again, just blotting my dabbing my paintbrush into the ink pad and going into the grooves. That's better. And I'm kind of bringing it up on the sides, and that's going to create some shadow, which I think is what my pumpkin was missing. I'm just rubbing it into those grooves. And this again is a Creative Paper Clay pumpkin, so I just shaped my pumpkin with Creative Paper Clay, and then I used a needle tool to create the ridges. And then I let it dry. I let it dry on a flat surface so that it was nice and flat and would lay flush on my card. And what I did was wait for about 12 hours. And then after 12 hours, I lifted it very carefully and flipped it over so that the underside would dry, but it was already nice and flat and smooth. I think my pumpkin needs some leaves. Oh, I'm getting glue all over me because I'm leaning on my spider and didn't even realize it. I'm spreading him and getting glue all over me. So I just moved him totally out of his position. So I'm going to add some more glue so that he'll adhere to the canvas again. And try to keep my arm off of it this time. I was just going right on along with these stripes, wasn't I? Not even paying attention to the spiders and the glue on my arm. Last one right here. That's better. And I want to add some to the bottom of the pumpkin for some shadows. And you need to use a paintbrush or a sponge or something that's really stiff and sturdy so that you can scrub into your pad and then really brush it onto your pumpkin or whatever it is that you've got, your skeleton or whatever. And so while this is a Halloween card, this could easily be made into any season, any card for any reason, just by making a few simple changes. And the great thing about paper clay is you can make any embellishment that you can imagine. A few more little spots of shadow here on my pumpkin. I'm doing this upside down, so I hope I'm getting them in the right spot. There we go. That's better. Let me check it. Yes, that's better. Okay. So my pumpkin is done now. My canvas is done. Keep moving my spiders. Let your spiders dry before you do anything else. So otherwise you'll be moving them around like I am. I'm going to have to lay something on here to hold my card down, I think. But I do want to give my pumpkin a couple of leaves really quickly. And I think green would stand out a bit too much. So I'm going to take some faux flowers. These are from one of those black roses. And I'm just going to cut a little piece of this off, I think. Actually, yeah, I think I'll cut the tip of that off right there. And another one here. And grab my Aleene's Clear Tacky Glue. Figure out which way I need my glue to go. Right there. I'm gluing my pleat. I'm going to hold that for just a minute. And if you have some sort of clamp or clothespin, that would be a really good time to use it. And I do have those clamps, but obviously not at my desk. Which is where I need them. Why would they be at my desk? I think that's good. Oh, no. So I'm going to let this dry a little bit and I'll be back. I'm going to do while my flower petals were drying, I had another idea. So I have scrapped the flower petals for the leaves on my pumpkin, and I've decided to use feathers instead. So I like the bottom fuzzy part of the feather, but I think they're a little bit too long to just attach like that. So I'm going to trim my feathers at the fuzzy part. Just trim off the the length really. And now I want to apply them to the top of my pumpkin, like this. Need to trim the base a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to use my Aleene's Clear Tacky Glue, and I'm just going to apply some glue right to the tip on the base of the feather. And then tuck it right along the line of my pumpkin. And kind of press it in there. Oops. There we go. And the great thing about this is after I apply it, if I don't like it, I can always pull it right back off and it won't mess up my card. Or my painting, rather. There we go. Do the same thing for the other feather. And these are just going to replace the leaves on my pumpkin. Press it down into the crease there, right onto the top of my pumpkin. And it just adds a bit of elegance. And, you know, I love creepy and spooky and all that for Halloween, but I also like the vintage or elegant looking side of Halloween. The black and white, black and cream, black and orange together with that vintage look. I just love that. Actually, I'm going to push this over a little bit more and push it down into place. There we go. That's better. And you might need to kind of hold it in place for a few minutes until your glue starts to dry and holds them a little bit better. Perfect. There you go. So now you have your card and a painting. So it's very easy to turn a card into a painting. And there you have it. All Hallows Night. I do want to add one more little touch on my text here. I want to make those a little bit more glossy. So I'm going to take some glossy accents and just go right over the top. Oh no, it's running. Be very careful if you've used a calligraphy pen like I have. I'm just going right over the top of my text here with some glossy accents, and this is going to create the look of glass over the top once it's completely dry. It'll look kind of cloudy in the beginning. The great thing about glossy accents is that it doesn't run. And it's kind of, I like the way it's kind of made my calligraphy pen run a little bit. It made it a little bit more spooky, which I do like. Just be very careful if you've used anything that's water reactive. The glossy accents is going to make it wet again and it will make it run. So just be very careful. And once your glossy accents dries, there is a kind of sticker, and I can never remember what they're called. They're not, I don't think they're called acetate stickers, but they've got like this laminate, puffy laminate. It looks like glass over the top of them. And that's what this will look like once it's dry. Okay, one more little bit on the awl, and then I think my painting will be done. And so like here I want to smear it a little bit. So I'm just touching the letters with my tip, with my Glossy Accents tip. If you do not touch the letters with your Glossy Accents tip and just drip the glue on there, it won't smear. But if you actually touch it with your tip, it will smear. And that's it. There you have it. You can check out everyone else's replay on The Odd Show. Their links will be up with everyone's replay and this little video of mine.